1. The phone-free morning. You wake up, before your eyes are even fully open, you're already scrolling. Texts, TikTok, some stranger's hot take on something that happened while you were asleep. Congratulations. You just handed the first 5 minutes of your day to everyone except yourself. The first 30 minutes after waking sets the tone for everything after it. Start with a screen and you start in reactive mode, already processing other people's urgency, already behind, already overwhelmed before the day's technically begun. Neuroscientists call this cortisol hijacking. Your stress response fires before your own intentions even get a chance to form. The fix: phone stays face down for 30 minutes. No exceptions. Drink water, get dressed. Just breathe like an actual human. It'll feel weird at first because your brain's been trained to expect that hit. That discomfort is the whole point, and it passes faster than you'd think. 2. The 2-minute rule. There's one dirty plate in your sink. You walk past it. Tomorrow there are 3. By Friday, it's basically an archaeological site, and you've mentally rebranded doing the dishes as a weekend project that never actually happens. Here's the rule. If it takes under 2 minutes, do it right now. Reply to the short text now. Put the plate away now. Jot the thought down now. Small undone things stack into a low hum of background stress that follows you everywhere. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain quietly holds on to unfinished tasks, eating up mental space whether you're actively thinking about them or not. Most of your mental to-do list takes under 2 minutes. It's not long. It's just full of stuff you've been stepping over for weeks. 3. The 1% rule. Nobody wakes up and suddenly becomes great. They wake up and do something slightly less bad than yesterday. That's the entire secret. Improve by 1% a day, and after a year, you're 37 times better than where you started. That's not a motivational poster. That's actual compound math, applied to skills and habits. The catch is, 1% is basically invisible in the moment. You can't see it, feel it, or post it. A lot of people quit right before the compounding kicks in. And the flip side is just as true. Get 1% worse every day, and a year later you've barely lost anything visible either, until suddenly you have. Every habit compounds for you or against you, quietly, whether you notice or not. Quick thing, we're trying to hit our first 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and it genuinely helps more than you'd think. If you're new here, consider hitting subscribe. 4. Single tasking. You're on a call, half reading an email, 6 tabs open, a Slack notification blinking in the corner. You feel productive. You are not. You're performing productivity while doing 4 things badly at once. Multitasking is a myth. What you're actually doing is task switching, and every switch has a cost. Your brain needs time to fully load a new context. Switch constantly, and you keep paying that cost over and over without ever going deep on anything. Some studies suggest it can knock your effective IQ down by up to 15 points in the moment, roughly the cognitive hit of an all-nighter, except you're doing it to yourself voluntarily. One task, full attention. Finish it or pause it on purpose, then move on. It feels slower. It genuinely isn't. Real question for the comments. How many tabs do you have open right now? I'm betting it's more than 5. Here's the thing though. The next few habits are the ones almost nobody talks about, and one of them might be the single most uncomfortable thing on this entire list. If any of this is landing, subscribing genuinely helps this channel keep growing toward that 1,000 mark. Let's keep going. 5. 1 sentence a day. Journaling sounds like it needs a leather notebook, a candle, and 45 minutes of quiet reflection. It doesn't. It needs 1 sentence. 1 sentence forces you to figure out what actually mattered today. Not everything, just the thing. Over time, it becomes an actual record of your life instead of letting it dissolve into a blur of forgotten evenings. Psychologist James Pennebaker's research on expressive writing found that even brief daily reflection improves mood, lowers stress, and strengthens long-term memory. 1 sentence is genuinely enough to start seeing that. The people who say they never journal are usually the ones who tried to start with an hour. Start with a sentence. Good days, bad days, boring days. 1 sentence. The habit is the point, not the prose. 6. The complaint fast. Try going 24 hours without complaining. No venting about traffic, the weather, your workload, your group chat, nothing. Just notice how often the urge shows up. Most people last about 45 minutes. Not because their life is falling apart, because complaining's become a social reflex. Here's the problem though. Your brain doesn't fully separate venting from believing. Every complaint reinforces a neural pathway trained to scan for what's wrong. Neuroplasticity research backs this up. Repeated thought patterns physically strengthen the connections tied to them. This isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about pausing the automatic broadcast. Most people who try this for 24 hours say they genuinely feel lighter afterward, not because anything changed, but because they stopped narrating the problems on loop. 7. Saying no by default. You say yes to stuff you don't want, don't have time for, and won't enjoy, because no feels rude and yes feels easy. 2 weeks later, you're standing at some event you never wanted to attend, wondering how your calendar got away from you again. Yes is never neutral. Every yes is a no to something else. Your time, your focus, your actual priorities. People who protect their time aren't antisocial, they just know attention is limited. And a vague yes given to dodge awkwardness gets paid for later, with interest. Warren Buffett once said the difference between successful people and very successful people is that the very successful ones say no to almost everything. Simple script, let me check and get back to you. Not a no, just a pause. That pause alone filters out half of what you'd have said yes to on impulse. 8. The cold shower closer. Nobody wants to do this one. That's exactly why it works. Last 30 seconds of your shower, turn it cold. Not the whole shower, just 30 seconds. Your brain will argue this is completely unreasonable for a random Tuesday. Do it anyway. Research out of the Netherlands found people who took cold showers reported noticeably higher energy and took nearly 30% fewer sick days. But the physical stuff is almost beside the point. What you're actually training isn't cold tolerance. It's the gap between impulse and action, doing something uncomfortable because you decided to, not because you felt like it. That muscle shows up everywhere. At the gym, in hard conversations, when the work's difficult and your phone's sitting right there. Have you ever actually tried a cold shower on purpose? Tell me in the comments. I want to know if you lasted the full 30 seconds. 9. The weekly review. Sunday evening. 20 minutes. No phone. Just you and a few honest questions. What happened this week? What worked? What didn't? What actually matters next week versus what's just noise? Most people run from task to task without ever checking if they're even headed the right direction. The weekly review is the habit that makes every other habit work better. It's where you catch the drift before it turns into a full detour. 20 minutes a week is about 17 hours a year of actually thinking about your own life. Most people spend 0 hours doing that, then wonder every December where the year went. The review doesn't fix your life. It just makes sure you're the one steering it, instead of just along for the ride. You already knew most of this, honestly. The phone thing, the 2-minute thing, the saying no thing. None of it's new. What separates knowing a habit works from actually doing it is exactly one thing: starting before you feel ready. Nobody feels ready. The people who end up in charge of their own life just start anyway, with something embarrassingly small, and they don't stop. One habit, starting tomorrow. Motion beats a perfect plan every single time. The best time to start this was a year ago. The second best time is tomorrow morning, when you put your phone face down and just see what happens. If any of this hit close to home, send it to someone who's been meaning to start for a while and hit subscribe. There's a lot more small things with big consequences coming after this one.